I was just thinking about how grateful I am to be in a relationship now, because before, the type of guys that I was dating were from the gym. Like, have you ever been on a date with somebody from your gym? It's actually horrendous. I was thinking specifically about this one time I went on a date with a guy from my gym. He actually worked at the gym. I thought he was really cute, you know. It just happened really naturally. He asked me on a date and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I'm pretty freshly single and I haven't really been on a date before other than in my 7-year relationship. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? He tells me he's gonna take me to get sushi. I'm thinking, all right, we're off to a good start. Love sushi. He picks me up from my house. The first thing he says when I walk out is, wow, you look so hot. I knew it was gonna be bad just from that point. Now we're driving to the date. He's asking me about my zodiac sign and stuff in the car, and like, no hate to all of that stuff, but like, if a man is asking me about my zodiac sign, I'm just so turned off. Like, why are you asking me about that? Like, why do you know about, like, I don't know, don't like it. I tell him, oh, I'm a Cancer, and he's like, oh, you're a Cancer? Makes sense. And I'm like, you're just making shit up. Like, don't act like you even know what you're talking about. Now, he asked me once when I was in the car, like, how my workout was that day. Oh my God, so bad. And then he asked me again while we're waiting for the host to seat us. So how was your workout? What'd you work out today? And I like said the same thing over and over again. And he kept asking me the same question. Even when we sat down at the table, it was like, so what'd you work out today? And I'm like, are you okay? Are you broken? Are you broken? And he was like, I think I hit back or something that day, or I don't know. And he was like, oh, just another thing to get closer to leg day, am I right? I just threw it in my mouth. And you know what? Maybe I'm a massive hater from my own life experiences, but I think anybody that's like live, laugh, love gym, just hate that. Don't know. I just don't like it. I think it's super cringy, super icky. So the fact that you got nothing else to talk about except that is absolutely insane. Thank you. Anyways, he's like, what do you want to get to drink? We're looking at the drink menu. But before I can order a drink or pick something out, he's like, let me just see how much everything is. And he's in front of me verbally saying, make sure it's not above a certain price range. Okay. Now, at the time, my hair was curly and super, super long, like so gorgeous. And I had my hair natural that night. And I remember him making a comment saying like, your hair's really curly. And I was like, yeah, it is. And he's like, do you ever straighten it? I'm not kidding. He actually said that to me. So that was super fun. Oh yes, before we even get our food, he's munching that ginger, like munching it. Hey, no hate, I munch the ginger at the sushi restaurants every time. There's like no way around it. But he's munching the ginger and then he's like, are you gonna eat your ginger? And I'm like, you know what? You can have it. The fuck? And then he goes, oh my God, like I just love ginger so much. And he's like, I don't want this to freak you out or anything, but I actually have a ginormous tub of ginger that my parents got me online because I live with my parents still. And I keep it at the side of my bed. And I just eat ginger like casually before bed, when I wake up, like during the day. We're talking about jobs and stuff. You know, like I said, he worked at the gym. So we're talking about like why he works there, when he started working there. And he's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, my ex-girlfriend who broke my heart works at Equinox, and so I wanted to spite her, so I decided to get a job at this gym. I'm not fucking joking. This actually happened. Once this boy started talking about his ex, he could not stop also. But I honestly was so down for it. Like I was like, at least it's giving us something to talk about, because I have zero interest in you. And I decided that the minute that you picked me up at my house. So let's talk about your ex. Let's talk about getting back together with your ex. Like, let's plot it out together right now. By the end of this date, he's thinking in his head that this was the best date ever and that it's going so good. And I remember he was like, wow, like that genuinely like was so amazing. You're so amazing. I can't wait to see you again, and tries to kiss me. And I respectfully pull back and I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I will not be kissing you, and I'm so sorry, but I will never see you again. To this day, I still don't like the fact that that guy can say he took me on a date once. Like, ugh. And you would have thought that I would have learned my lesson after that, like no gym guys ever. I should have known. This again was like my first time dating in a really long time. I didn't learn. I continued to go on dates with guys from the gym, and horrendous period of time. And the stories just unfortunately get worse. So do better than me.
I went on a date with an ex-pro tennis player who I later found on the page Are We Dating the Same Guy LA, and what I saw was shocking. I matched with Tennis Man on Hinge, and he pretty quickly invited me to go get dinner. This man was absolutely beautiful, 6'5", amazing body. The first red flag was that he lived in one of the beach towns outside of LA. When I asked him to meet in the middle, he was very stern on the fact that we had to go to a restaurant in his town. On top of that, he kept asking me to park my car at his house and that we would walk to the restaurant because it was so close. I may be pretty, but I'm not pretty stupid. We sit down and almost instantly he starts going in about how he was in a iconic tennis relationship with some girl who was secretly a lesbian. He would visit her wherever she was playing, and she was living with the girl that she was dating, but he didn't know they were dating and they were sharing a bed. I was like, girl, this is too much information for a first date. I do not care. But also, kind of loved the tea. Like, I'll take your lesbian tennis player and raise you a homeless Instacarter that I dated for a year. Now, other than that, the date did go pretty well. We definitely had great conversation and I honestly had fun. He basically told me that he had just retired and it was his first time really putting himself out there. And at the end of the date, I ended up going to the bathroom, and while I was in the bathroom, like a gentleman, he paid the bill and stepped outside. At first, when I walked out of the bathroom and he wasn't at the table, I was like, did I just get ditched? We're standing outside and he's like, I honestly don't want this date to end. Would you be down to just take a stroll on the beach? We end up sitting talking for another 2 hours. This is where he asks me if we can go on another date and kisses me. And at this point, girl, I think I met my future husband. I'm planning my move to this little beach town and planning what I'm gonna wear to Wimbledon. Now, this is where things get interesting. I tell him, you know, I should probably get back. He tells me I've had such a great time. I really want to see you again. And as he's saying this, I notice another guy out loud be like, damn. I'm thinking at this point he's gonna be like, oh, let me walk you to your car. Nope. Pulls me and kisses me. Okay, fine. And then is like, all right, well, text me when you get home safely. This random ass man starts following me down this side street that's very dark, no street lights. The guy runs up to me and is like, I just have to say, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. This guy is talking very loudly and Mr. Tennis Man is just around the corner. Like, there's no way he doesn't hear this. And so you would think he would kind of run back or like, I don't know, see what's going on. Anyways, he finally like leaves me alone. I politely decline and I get to my car. And it takes me like an hour to get home. So when I get home, I text him like, hey, just got home, had a great time, thanks again. I never hear from this man again. Now, before you scroll, there's more to this story. I have always been a part of the Are We Dating the Same Guy LA Facebook group. I'm scrolling this group months later, and lo and behold, I see Tennis Man's photo pop up. I am gagged. Truly, I do not know what came over me this day. I never post on this page. I never comment on this page. I decide randomly, maybe I was a little salty still, I don't know. I comment, OMG, I went on a date with this guy one time, never heard from him again after. Girl. I'm minding my own business when all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up with Facebook notifications. I look and I'm getting tons of likes on my comment. I click open the post. There are dozens of girls sharing horror stories about this man, forcing girls to give him massages in his car and pressuring multiple girls into doing things they did not want to do. So needless to say, yeah, I was offended that all I got was a kiss goodnight. No, all jokes aside, this is why groups like Are We Dating the Same Guy LA are so important and valuable, and why I'll probably never go on another date with a professional athlete or ex-professional athlete.
So you may have heard of the Tinder swindler, but have you heard of the Afterpay runaway? Well, I'm about to tell you, so buckle up because this is unfortunately a crazy story that I unfortunately did live. So let's go. All right, so it's September 2025. Me and my two best friends are going on a trip to LA. We go to LA, and while we're in LA, we're like, let's go, let's use our rental car and let's go for a day trip to Vegas. Why not? And so we do just that. We drive down to Vegas. We wake up bright and early. We drive to Vegas. We're literally just going to go for the day. Like, we're going to drive in the morning, go to a day party, leave in the evening, get back to LA by like 10 p.m. And so we do that. We drive to Vegas, we go to this day party at Drea's, and then we're leaving the day party. We go downstairs, we're at the casino for a little bit, we're having a good time, having some drinks, and then we're like, okay, let's go. Let's get back to the car and drive back to LA. One of my friends is sober just before somebody, I already feel like someone's gonna talk about me saying we had drinks and then we drove. One of our friends is sober. Anyways, besides the point, as we're like making our way through the casino, like in the hotel lobby to leave, my friend recognizes this guy that she knows. So she stops him and she says hi. And while she's talking to this friend saying hello, I notice that his friend is sitting there and he's kind of cute. So I walk over to his friend and I introduce myself. I'm talking to his friend. His friend is named Isaiah. And we're talking, he's flirting, he's buying me another drink. And then he's like, oh, like, how long are you here? Like, how long do we get to hang out for? And I'm just like, not long, I'm literally leaving now. And then he's like, oh no, like, let me book you guys a hotel room, like, stay in Vegas for the night with us, I'll book you guys a room. And I'm like, sorry, like, one of our friends, she had to fly out the next morning from LA, so not gonna work. And then he offers to book her a flight, so I'm like, oh, she's down, I'm down, we're down. So we do it. We let this man book us a hotel room and book my friend a new flight so that we can stay in Vegas and hang out. And then the whole group of us hung out. We like just partied that night. And then the next day rolls around. We go for breakfast. It's also, I need to note, everything that we did and everything that we had while we were there was paid for by Isaiah. The hotel, the new flight, he was buying us all food, drinks, alcohol. We didn't have any like toiletries, any toothbrushes or anything since we weren't prepared to stay the night. Took us to CVS, paid for all of that. Literally paid for everything, paid for breakfast the next day, filled up our rental with gas before we left and parted ways. All of it, okay? I think that's worth mentioning. So then, yeah, as I said, the next day rolls around, we go for breakfast, and then we part ways. Me and him hit it off, so we're like texting, whatever. Turns out he's only in Seattle, like that's where he lives, and I live in Vancouver, so it's nice. Because usually you meet somebody on vacation, you're like, I'm never going to see you again. They usually live hella far. But he lives so close, so it was exciting. We could keep getting to know each other. And so eventually my trip in LA ends. I come back to Vancouver, and me and him are talking, and we plan a visit. So I'm going to come visit him in Seattle. So he books me. I don't have a car. I don't own a car. I have my license and everything, but I don't own a car. Typical living in downtown Vancouver. It's either you have an apartment or car. Gotta pick one. I don't have a car. So he books me a business class round trip train ticket to come down to Seattle. And I come. And then when I get there, he's like, oh yeah, like something was wrong with his car. His car wasn't working and his license was suspended. I'm like, there's going to be red flags that you see while I tell the story that I unfortunately did not see while I was living it. I know now how naive and stupid I was, but like at the time I was just being naive and being love bombed, to be completely honest. So I get there and he like lets me know that about his car, and he's like, well, I'm going to rent us the car for the weekend, but because my license is suspended, would you mind to like put it under your name and on your license? I had never rented a car at that point either, and I don't know, I was again being stupid and naive, and I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And so we went to the car rental place. We figured out exactly how much it would cost. He sent me the money. I put it on my license, my credit card. We have a great weekend. Again, he's spoiling me, just spending so much money. And like, that is not why I also really did like him. I hate saying that now because I despise this man now, but like in that moment, like the conversations were good, we were getting along really well. On top of that, he was like, you know, spending lots of money on me, just like all good things. Come the end of the weekend, it's time for me to leave, and it's time for us to drop off the car first. And he's like, oh, well, I have a couple errands to do this week, and like, you're gonna come back and visit me next weekend, right? So like, let's just like, do you mind if I just like extend the car rental and then we can return it when you come back next weekend? Taylor, being dumb and naive again, said, yeah, no problem. That's not a problem. Let's do that. So then we do that. I leave. The rental is not returned. I don't end up coming back the next weekend, but I think the weekend after that. And so he like gave me the money for that extension. And then we were supposed to return it again at the end of that weekend that I was there. He had the same excuse, like, oh, like, let's just return it when you come back next time. Like, I'll pay for the extension, blah, blah, blah. I said yes again. And at this point, again, everything was going really well in, like, our relationship that we were building. So there was no reason for me to, well, there was no reason that I thought to say no. And so again, I let him keep the car, didn't return it, went back to Vancouver. But then this time when I went back, he was becoming a lot less responsive with text. He said he was just busy. He kept reassuring me that like, it was nothing else. Like, he's just been busy, but like, he's so excited to see me again, and he'll return the car. He'll send me the money. Don't worry, like, you won't spend a dime on this, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, okay, like at this point I'm starting to be like, I'm not feeling so good about this. Like, I would like this car to be returned. Well, I'm starting to get texts from the car rental company, from Hertz, being like, we need you to return the car. It's not been returned. So it's like late November, early December. He's not responding very much. The car company Hertz is like texting me, calling me, emailing me, be like, this rental's overdue. We need you to return this car. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Okay, so then early December, I think it was the first week of December, he told me he returned it. He's like, I returned the car, and I also wasn't getting any more text messages, calls, or emails from her. So I was like, okay, like he returned it, clearly. And then on December 12th, I get a phone call. It's from a Seattle phone number, and so I'm like, huh. Like, maybe, I was thinking, like, this might be Isaiah. Like, maybe he got a new number. Mind you, like, again, I haven't been hearing from him very much. Like, at this point, like, the relationship aspect is gone. Like, it's just, like, I'm literally harassing the man to return this fucking car. And he's just giving me the runaround saying he did, or he will, and then he said he did. So then December 12th, when I get this phone call from an unknown number from Seattle, me thinking it might be him, I pick it up, and I'm like, hello, and it's this person saying, hey, this is so-and-so, like, this is so-and-so from, like, blank towing company. I've been sent from Hertz to repossess this Jeep. Yeah, I'm, like, outside of it right now. I just, like, if you have the keys, you can give me, so they don't have to charge you for, like, a key replacement fee. I beg your finest fucking pardon. You're doing what outside of what? And so then I'm like, oh my fucking god, this guy lied to me. He did not return the car. And then I asked the guy, I was like, can you send me a picture of like where he saw it? And then like, I'm gonna call this guy. To be honest with you, like, I rented it. It's in my name, but somebody else is using the car. He has not been responding to me. Let me see if I can get him to come down. I'm so sorry. So I'm like blowing up Isaiah's phone, calling him, texting him. I'm like, they're there for the car, and he's like, I already dealt with it. And I'm like, no the fuck you didn't. Like, they're there right now to tow the fucking car and repossess it. Like, you can't lie anymore. And so I guess he like goes down, he like gives the key to the guy, clears out all the shit he had in the Jeep, and then they repossess the fucking car. I'm pissed, obviously, and like obviously me and him are fucking done at this point, and I'm trying to get my money back from him, and he's still trying to give me the runaround, be like, I know I really like you, like I wasn't doing, like I really hope you don't think I did that to like fuck you over, like I was just like doing all these things to get like slipped out of my mind, and like I'm gonna give you the money, like don't worry, like I wasn't trying to fuck you over. So at this point I'm like, I'm so livid, obviously, because this huge charge just hit my card. I am harassing him to send me the money. He's not doing it. He's telling me that he's going to, and he's just like, I don't know, he's giving me all these bullshit excuses. And so I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm posting him in the Are We Dating the Same Guy group for Seattle. And so I post his name, his age, and in the comments I write like, I was seeing this guy, I rented a car, he like ran up the charges, didn't return it, it got repossessed, yada yada. Like, I've been hit with this $5,300 charge. He's not sending it to me. Like, beware of this guy. Come to my surprise, there are several other women that he has done this to, not with a car, but other things. So he's like dated women, started to get to know them, like love them the fuck out of them, and then somehow gets them to create a Klarna or Afterpay account, or just like give him access to it. I don't know, but he has scammed multiple women, ran up charges on their Afterpay/Klarna accounts, and left them with the bill. And one comment in particular really stood out to me, because she said that she had a whole bunch of Afterpay debt from him, including a really suspicious Air Canada charge. You're fucking lying. So I comment back. Mind you, I posted it anonymously and she commented anonymously. So I was like, girl, please, if I comment my phone number, will you please text me? Like, I know exactly what that Air Canada charge is for. Please text me. So she does. And I'm like, girl, I tell her the whole story. I was like, that was my friend's flight. Like, what the fuck? So the hotel, the flight, the gas, the food, everything was on all these different women's Afterpay accounts. She paid for that flight. Who knows who paid for everything else? So me and her, like, matching up our timelines. We're going through everything. It's fucked. Like, he was lying the entire time. Several other people commenting this as well. So he's done this to numerous women. And then obviously he finds out about the post. He's got informants in the group, probably his sisters or his mom, because I know his mother enables him too, and we can get into that in a separate story time. But he finds out about the post and he comes at me. He's like calling me all these names, telling me it's all my fault, telling me to delete the post, blah, 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 all these things. And of course he's saying he's not going to send me the money unless I delete it. So do I believe him that if I delete it, he's going to send it to me? No, but if I have it all in writing, I'm going to do that to show that you're not going to do what you say you're going to do. And that's exactly what happened. I deleted the post. He didn't send me the money. So what did I do? I reposted it right the fuck back. And this time, even more new people came to the table with stories about him doing this to them. Running up their Afterpay and then running away. So I'm like, oh, this is like your MO. Like, this is what you do. And I like, obviously, I'm like, you're a fucking pig. Like, I can't believe you do this to so many women. Like, one of the girls that he did this to is a single mom. Like, and he knows that. But you willingly put her into this situation, leaving her with thousands of dollars of debt for what? To impress other women that you're just gonna scam? Like, this man clearly survives off of scamming women and taking from them and stealing from them. Now at this point, labeled him the Afterpay runaway because, like, what you mean your MO is love bombing women to the point where they trust you enough to let you make a charge. Like, what I heard is that he'd be like, do you mind if I just put this thing on your Afterpay? Like, I'll send you the money right away for it. My card's just not working, like, da-da-da. And, like, I don't know. Obviously, in hindsight now, it sounds really fucking stupid to let somebody do that, but I feel like I can understand it, first and foremost, because I also let him rent this car and keep extending it, because in my head, when you're being love bombed, and you have to know that, like, in the moment, he's saying all the right things. He's treating you so well in person. Like, it wasn't like there was, like truly there wasn't red flags in, like how he would talk to me. Like, he was so nice, so fun. Like, everything was so good in every other regard, except for when it came to the car rental, or in these women's case, except for when it came to the Afterpay. So fast forward to January, I end up losing my job right after I'm done paying off that $5,300 charge, because I wasn't just gonna let that sit. I'm not letting this hit my credit report. Like, I need to pay this right away, and then, like, this man needs to pay me back, and I will not rest until he pays me back. And so January, I had just finished paying it off, the whole fucking charge, and then on January 13th, after being off of work for 5 days because I got a concussion, I come back to work and I got terminated without cause, just completely let go for no reason from my job. Great. So now I don't have an income. I just literally used all of that money that I was getting from my job to pay off this credit card for this car charge that's not even mine. So that's awesome. I love that for me. I let him know, like, I really need you to send me this money now more than ever, because I just lost my job. Like, you're so fucked up. Like, you need to give me this. And at this point, he's still telling me he's going to do it. He's like, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Like, I don't know where he suddenly, like, he doesn't have money anymore all of a sudden. But then now I'm like, oh, you don't have any money because you never actually did have money. You were just scamming from other women, and everything you did for me was on another woman's fucking Klarna or Afterpay. So he's still telling me he's going to give me this money. I'm really not holding my breath, but I'm obviously going to keep harassing him because, like, I don't want this man to have a fucking ounce of peace. I do not want this man to have an ounce of peace if I can have any say over. And fast forward to March. In March, I had my birthday's in March. On March 20th, on my birthday, he sends me the first and last payment towards what he owes for the car. So he sends me like $300, really not much in the grand scheme of how much he owes. Sends that, and then he says he's going to start sending that to me weekly. I'll put the screenshot there. He tells me he's gonna send me this money weekly. And so the next week I ask him, where's the payment? Oh, I don't have it. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get back on my feet. Like, all of these different excuses again. And once again, I'm getting the roundabout. To this day, still no more money. In fact, he stopped responding. And so on June 1st, I sent him a message and I told him, I'm going to put it here. I'm going to have to cover up some things because I think they'll get flagged on TikTok. But I let him know in a not so kind way that, like, if you don't send me the full amount that you still owe me by June 15th, I'm going to the media. I'm going to the damn media and I'm telling everybody what kind of person you are and to avoid you, because if I'm not going to get my money back, then at the very least I can warn women in your fucking area and everywhere really to avoid you and to avoid men like you and to be really fucking careful and to learn from my damn mistakes. Because again, I know how stupid and naive I was in this situation now after the fact, and if all I can do is warn other women and share my story so that people know that there's people like this who exist, then that's what I'll do. That is what I'll do. So this is me doing that. This man right here, Isaiah Green, avoid at all cost. He lived in Everett when I was seeing him. He's known to be in the Seattle area. I've heard of him being in Bothell as well. Just all of those surrounding areas, as well as Vegas. He frequents Vegas, or when he has money, I guess he does. When he's able to successfully scam women to get himself to Vegas, He's there scamming more women in Vegas. So honestly, just like be careful of this man no matter where the fuck you are. If you see him, run in the opposite direction, hide your credit cards, hide your Afterpay accounts, because he is going to steal your Afterpay and he's gonna run the fuck away. I'm sure I probably left out many details because like honestly, as I tell the story, I get like riled up all over again because I'm so fucking pissed. Mostly at myself at this point for being so naive and stupid to have let that happen to me, but I learned my lesson. If anybody has questions or if there's details that you feel like I left out, let me know. I'm happy to share. Like I said, want this man to have no peace until this is resolved, and I don't think that will happen. So as far as I'm concerned, he'll never have peace. Netflix, Tinder Swindler was such a hit. I think people will love Afterpay Runaway. I know that all these girls who have been scammed by him that I've talked to would love to share their stories. So we have a good story on our hands here. If I'm not getting the money, which I don't think I am, at the very least want to make it known what kind of person he is, because I really truly don't know how, after all of these people he's scammed, he's just gotten away like friction free. Like the worst he's gotten is an angry woman on a Facebook page like sharing their truth. He needs more than that. Well, first of all, he needs to be locked up in jail. And at the very least, if I can't do that, then I'm gonna drag his name and his face through the fucking mud. So yeah.
I just went on my first date of the year, and I think it's gonna be my last because it was so good. You might be wondering, no, we're talking about men here. I, against my better judgment, decided to have one-on-one time with a man. I said I like sushi. He said he likes sushi. Great. We decided to go to Blue Sushi Sake Grill. They have lots of gorgeous, delicious, cooked and raw sushi. We're sitting at the table. The waiter comes up. He starts asking questions. My date starts looking like a deer in headlights. He doesn't know anything about sushi or what he wants. One thing about me, one of my biggest icks is when a partner, a friend, a family member, anybody acts like they've never left the house. When you get around me, you act like you've been somewhere. Now all of a sudden you asking silly questions, acting like you don't know what ingredients are, like you don't have the power to look it up in your phone and see what it is if it's troubling you that much. not around here, partner. The waiter's like, well, tell me some things that you like and I'll recommend the best roll for you. This man goes, well, bro, I like ham sandwiches, lemon pepper wings, and sweet potato fries. Me and the waiter are just looking at each other because what the hell is he talking about? I'm wondering, is he having a stroke? So the waiter's like, you know what? I'm gonna let you look at the menu one more time. I'll circle back around. So my date ends up getting a phone call right after this, so he steps away. The waiter comes back to the table with a drink for me, and he's like, that guy at the bar over there sent you this drink. Assuming my waiter probably told the bartender what happened, and the old white man at the bar took pity on me and sent me a drink. So my date comes back to the table. I'm like, how about I just order for us? Let's get some chicken lettuce wraps and a thriller roll. If you know, you know. That's a guaranteed crowd pleaser at Blue Sushi Sake Grill. He likes it, of course. He likes me, of course. He thinks I'm a beautiful, gorgeous, cultured queen that's gonna show him the world. But no. Because you know what I didn't like? I don't like liars. And I don't like being embarrassed. And I don't like white people laughing at us in Black History Month. Blizzard!
Just have a breeding kink.
Story time about the worst Hinge date I've ever been on with text and voicemail receipts, so stay tuned. Basically this happened when I was 19 years old. I had downloaded Hinge for the first time, and I didn't know what the roast feature was really, so I kind of just gave it to the first person that popped up on my page. And he looked normal. I think his profile picture had like one rave picture, and I'm not really into raving or partying, but I was like, you know what, whatever. And so we are texting, and usually I would call someone just to like get their vibe or their intuition, but I didn't know that you should do that at this point. So we're just texting and stuff, we're getting along. He's asking me questions about my profile, and I think I said long-term like life partner is what I'm looking for, which, you know. And he was like, my angle is to get married in like 3 months because I'm going to the military. And I was like, oh, and that should have been a red flag for me, but at that point, I had been like heartbroken recently, and so I was like, someone wants to like get married, they want something real, and I was so like excited about this. And so, you know, I'm getting low-key love bombed, and I'm kind of like texting back. I'm like, oh my gosh, and he's calling me Princess and Mrs. Blank, which is, you know, his last name. And this is, mind you, first day of ever meeting. And so I'm like, okay, he asked me if I want to go on a date. And I kind of like curve it the first time because I have really bad social anxiety when it comes to like being in person. But then he like is a little persistent. So I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to go to Din Tai Fung, I'll take you. And I had never been like taken on like a super fancy date by a guy like in my life. And I had heard that Din Tai Fung was super fancy. It's on the Strip. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. Like, I'd love to. And I don't drive. So I'm like, can you pick me up? Number one, do not ever have a guy or girl pick you up from your house on a first date if you don't know them. Just Uber. And so he picks me up, and he's low-key, he doesn't really look like his profile, which isn't a big deal for me. I'm not like super, oh my gosh, you catfished me. I don't really care because I feel like I could be a catfish in real life too. I think we low-key all are. Anyway, and his voice is a little higher, not a problem, once again, just not what I was expecting. And so we're driving over to Din Tai Fung, and we're just having a conversation, but it's not flowing really well, and it's kind of like pulling teeth. And I feel like I could have a conversation with a wall, so for this to happen is really weird for me. So we eventually do get to Din Tai Fung, and we're waiting for the server. And I had already looked at the menu previously because I always do that, you know, Yelp check. I want this, and this, and this. And I make sure to choose like not super expensive stuff. I just knew I wanted the chocolate, like bao bun dumpling, whatever they were, because I had seen it everywhere and I love chocolate. And so the server comes to take our order, and I'm like asking him if I can like write down because it's one of those like test looking menus. And he's like, no, I got this, sweetheart. And I was like low-key disappointed, but I was like, okay, a man that takes charge, nice. And so the server takes away our menu, and we're waiting. And so I decide to ask him about, you know, his future and stuff. So I'm like, what made you want to join the military? Like, that's a super noble thing to do. And he goes, yeah, I really want to be in the special forces. And I was like, okay, tell me about that. And he goes, well, you know, I've heard it was a challenge, and I really want to know what it feels like to unalive someone. And I'm sitting there like so freaked out. I'm like, okay, because literally I don't know how anyone would respond to that in a nice manner. So I'm like, that's cool. And so he's like, yeah, I even have like 3, what word can I use sometimes? 3 pew-pews at home just in case I ever got the chance. And I'm like, okay, interesting. And at this point, I am checked out. I'm like, I should go home because I am afraid at this point. And I know it sounds funny, but it is a really like scary thing to hear that from someone. And so then I try to kind of skirt away from the topic by asking him if he wants a family in the future. And I know that's like taboo for a first date topic, but I much rather have all of my cards like laid out on the table so that they know exactly what I'm looking for, so that they can't say, well, I thought you just wanted fun or whatever, because I'm not a fun looking for girl, honestly. And so he's like, yeah, I want a really big family. And I was like, oh, okay, like what? He's like, 8 kids. And I was like, you know, I have a lot of health issues, so I don't know if I could like deal with 8 kids. And he was like, well, I don't really care about like the kids themselves.
I just have a breeding kink.
And I'm like, this is insane. And I'm like looking around like feeling like this is a sitcom for him saying that to me on a first date. And I'm like, oh, yeah, rad, that's cool. Because I'm like so scared at this point. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. The check rolls around, and he's like, let me get it. And I'm like, no, let me get it. He's like, I'm a man, I was raised right, let me get it. Okay, I let him get it. So then we're like walking on the Strip, and it's like, I think they're called the crystal shops. And we pass by like a Tiffany's, and he goes, do you want to find out your ring size? And I was like, what? For what? And he was like, I know you wanted to get married pretty soon, so we could get your engagement ring tonight. I said, no, it's okay, I don't really know my ring size, and I don't really want to get a size right now, so. And he was like, oh, but you said that your parents got engaged really soon. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, I'll make you fall in love with
Me by the end of the night.
So then we're walking again, and he like pulls out his phone to like go to Google Maps to figure out where like some place is. And he's like, I want to take you somewhere. I'm like, okay, let's go. Because once again, he drove me, so I don't have a ride home. So we're walking. And he's like, close your eyes. I'm like, okay. And we get there. It's a chapel. He took me to a wedding chapel. And he was like, you know that I wanted to get married really soon. So we could just get our marriage license tonight and we can get to know each other after. And I'm like standing there like, ha 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 ha. And he's like, no, I'm not joking. Like, you said that you wanted a lifetime partner, so why don't we just get married tonight? And I genuinely, how would you react? I don't know how I was supposed to react. Anyway, we go to dessert and he starts telling me about his past and the hardcore snow that he did. And I was like, wow, that's not really my lifestyle. And he's like, yeah. And while I did it,
I was banging.
I'm like, banging? And he was like, banging. And he just kept using the word banging. And I was like, don't use the word banging, that's gross. Anyway, we finally get home, and we had taken like a photo booth picture at dinner or whatever. That's relevant in a little bit. But then he texts me, you know, I do want to let you know that I really do like you after meeting you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And he's like, second date, question mark? And I was like, you know, I had a lot of fun, thank you so much, but I'm super busy with school and with work and everything, so thank you so much for the fun night. And I thought that was gonna be it. And then the next morning he texts me while I'm in class and he goes, are you in class? And I was in class. So I didn't respond. And then I was at work, so I didn't respond. And then it's like 7, 8 p.m. and I'm with my mom on the couch. And he's like, wow, so you're ghosting me? And I was like, what the heck? Like, I didn't respond for like 6 hours after our first date, like, I'm sorry. And so then I didn't respond to that because it was like a really rude message, which I'll put right here. And then 2 hours later, he starts calling me off the hook, like 30 phone calls in 10 minutes. I'm freaking out. He starts blowing up my phone, like 200 texts. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to send that to you. That was so mean of me. I can't believe I did that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? And he's like, can you pay me back for the Din Tai phone? And I was like, okay, because I'm just scared that I'm going to get like stalked or something. And he's like, can I come pick up the photo? No, you cannot. And so now I'm going to put in the voicemail. So I would love for your reaction on that. So thanks, bye.
Cecilia, from the bottom of my heart, I apologize for being mean to you and sending you that text. You're a really good girl. You're a really great girl, and any guy would want to have you and be in a relationship with you and marry you.
I'm ready to tell you guys about the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me on a date ever. And enough time has passed that I don't think the guy that I went on a date with would ever recognize me or remember this. Hopefully. Let's keep it that way, guys. I went on a date with this guy that I met on Hinge. He got straight to the point. I was like, hey, let me take you out. I was like, hell yeah, I love a man that gets straight to the point. Let's go. He made all the plans. He told me to meet him for dinner. Boom, done. We got to the date. At first, I wasn't attracted to him based off of what I saw on Hinge. But it was such a great date. Like, I didn't realize how attractive a man could be based off his like mannerisms. He treated me so well on that dinner date. Like he was just so polite and such a gentleman. Dinner ended and we were heading back to our cars, and as he was walking me to my car, I was like we should continue doing something, like we should go get drinks or something. And he was like, okay, let's go to a bar. I should have gone home, but I didn't. Because we go to this bar, we meet his friends there. The bartender, she is like super attracted to me, and she keeps telling him like, I'm gonna steal your girl. So she's giving us free drinks. Like at one point she gave us these green tea shots that literally were the color black, and after that I don't remember a thing. After that shot, all I remember was waking up face down on grass with throw up all over my hair, all over my shirt, everywhere. And I was asking him to get me an Uber home, and him and his friends were like around me. I just remember like looking around and they were like standing around me, and he's like, I can't get you an Uber because if you throw up in an Uber you're gonna get banned. And I was like, I don't care. Like I was yelling like, get me home, and I was just throwing up everywhere. I was in and out of it. So apparently he said I fell asleep for like 45 minutes out on his front lawn, and he was trying to get me inside the house. So they literally had to sit out there while I slept and watch me sleep for a little bit. It was so embarrassing, guys. So at one point he grabs me to try to bring me inside, and I'm like on all fours, right, on the floor, and he grabs me from behind and he kind of like grabs me from where my stomach is and like pulls me up, guys. I freaking farted on him. I sobered up so quick in that split second, and then I went back to being drunk. But he got quiet. I just remember like I farted on him, and then it just got quiet, and then he proceeded to try to bring me inside. Somehow he dragged me into the house. I ended up falling asleep on the floor, and he was like begging me to get on his bed, and I was like, no, like leave me alone. I threw up on his carpet. It was just chaos. Somehow he got me to get on his bed. I woke up at 7 in the morning with his arm around me, wrapped up around me, and I smelled like throw up. It was the most disgusting thing ever. I quietly, I found my phone, I quietly ordered an Uber, and I went home. And I messaged him on Hinge, and I was like, I'm so sorry, this is so embarrassing. And then a few minutes later, he texts me, and he's like, I think you forgot you gave me your phone number last night. Guys, he's like, you don't have to be embarrassed. I want to see you again. It was the most awful thing ever. His name was Cole. He was such a cute guy. Like, he was this white boy, such a gentleman. I don't know what happened. I think I was just so embarrassed over what had happened that I couldn't be confident around him because he had seen too much, and that was like the lowest I could ever. I've never done that. I don't know why that would happen. I think somebody might have roofied me. That green tea shot, I'm sure there was something in there that I did not approve of. But if you guys know a Cole that lives in Arizona, don't tell him about this video.
Story time about the worst date that I've ever been on. It literally haunts me till this day. Like, it was so bad. Since you guys enjoyed the other story time about the date that I went on with a man and then found out he was married after, we're just gonna keep this little series going because, you know what? I do this for the plot at this point. This guy was perfect. Like, I had not been this excited about a man in years. Okay, I thought I found like my perfect person. Okay, we go on this date, and when we get there and we sit down, he had been fine the whole day. Like, everything was fine. I was talking to him, everything was great. When we sat at this table, I quickly realized that I think he had been drinking before the date. Now, I don't judge. I figured maybe he was nervous. Maybe he was like drinking before just to kind of like loosen up, which I get. He basically made a complete fool out of himself and made a scene at the restaurant. He started by seeing that one of the drinks was called Paper Planes, and he was like, oh my god, like the Paper Planes song from MIA. And proceeded to turn this fine dining establishment into a karaoke bar by himself. He basically started singing this at the top of his lungs. And I was like, ha ha ha, okay. And like, all right. Like, he sang it like halfway through the song before I was like, okay, no, like the whole restaurant staring at us. I beg of you to stop. And he was like, oh my god, okay, I love that song, whatever. I was like, oh yeah, no, I do too. I was like, if you want to like maybe second date karaoke bar, I am down. No second date, because after that he proceeded to ask me if I had any pets, and I said, yes, I have a little cat. Now, he spent like 10 minutes talking about his dog. So I was like, yeah, I have a little cat. She's really sweet. Oh my gosh, I love animals. I love that like little thing, whatever. And as I'm like endearingly talking about my cat, he cuts me off and basically proceeds to spend about 5 minutes talking about how cats are disgusting disease carriers and how they lick themselves, and then they're in the litter box and the litter box is disgusting, and spent like 5 minutes talking about how disgusting cats were. And I was like, I'm not going out on another date with you. No. This is done. So I was basically like, in my brain, I was like, listen, I'm just gonna muscle through this because I'm already here. I did my makeup. I got cute. He could be worse. I'll deal with this. I spoke too soon because when it came time to order food, this man proceeded to not let me order my own food because he was like, I've been here. I know what to order. You're gonna love it. Okay. He ordered everything that I don't eat because he didn't ask me. So I'm not even exaggerating, spent $700 on this dinner ordering stuff without like even being like, hey, like, do you, whatever. And I didn't eat it. He ate all like, I'd say he ordered like $500 worth of food. He ate all $500 worth of that food. And he was like, he was just like, why are you eating? And I was like, oh, like, he ordered the seafood tower, and I don't eat shellfish or lobster, crab, shrimp, oysters. I don't eat that. I don't eat any of that. And that's the whole tower. So I was like, oh, I'm really not a big fan, but like, please, like, enjoy it. Like, I was being really sweet. I was like, you know what? Like, I'll order myself something, thinking like, even if I have to pay for it, I'll order myself food. It's not that big of a deal. I already know I'm not going out on a second date with this guy. At least I could do is enjoy some good food at this place. He goes, oh, I'll order a steak. I was like, okay, what are you thinking? He's like, I'm gonna order the A5 Wagyu steak. I was like, okay. The seafood tower was like 2 something. The steak was also 2 something. That's where that 500 comes in. He ate the whole steak. He left me like the 2 end pieces, like those crispy little end pieces. And I was like, you go ahead, babe. You eat those. Don't even worry about it. In my brain, I was like, I'm gonna go get In-N-Out after this date. Like, it's fine. And at that point, like, he basically, everything that I said that I liked, he was like shitting on it. And I was like, you know what? Whatever. This is done. We're done. So I politely was like, hey, chill here. Enjoy the food. I'm gonna just excuse myself and go to the bathroom really quick. And I really was. I was gonna go to the bathroom. I was just gonna like text a friend and be like, hey, like, this isn't working out. Can you like text me with something? Or I was gonna just look up an Uber. I needed to find an escape route. So I was gonna go to the bathroom, figure out an escape route. This is where shit hits the fan. As I'm walking to the bathroom, apparently there was somebody, like a man, that was walking at the same time as I was to go to the bathroom. I didn't notice him until we like got to the front of the hallway of where the bathrooms were. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Please go ahead. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Whatever. In the hallway, very sweet, very handsome man. He goes, hey, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful. You look like you're on a date. You don't look like you're having the best time. So I don't mean to be forward, but like, I think that you are beautiful. Do you live here? Are you from here? And I was like, thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, I do live here. I live in this part of town. He's like, oh my God, no way. I'm like right here in this part of town. And he was so like sweet and polite. And then out of nowhere, he just got really quiet and his eyes got really wide. And before I could even turn around, my date has gotten up from the table, followed us to the bathroom, sees this man talking to me, and then decided he was going to get super possessive and proceeded to wrap his arm around my waist, pull me in to where my back is on his like chest torso situation, puts his face in my ear, and he goes, I thought you said you were going to the bathroom. What is this? I was so pissed. I literally pushed him on his face off, and I was like, do not fucking touch me. At this point, this guy hasn't left, is standing in front of me, and he's like, are you okay? And I was like, no, and I'm fucking leaving. And the guy was like, the guy that I'm on the date with was like, you just said you were going to and he was like making a whole scene, and I was like, no. I was like, you figure that out. Go deal with the food and the bill and all that stuff. And I like hauled ass to the elevator to leave. And he at that point had like was like yelling but walking back to the table. And I looked at the hostess and the guy, because they were like looking around, and they were like, are you okay? And I said, no, I'm not okay. I'm gonna go downstairs. Can you please make sure that he doesn't follow me? I'm calling an Uber. And they were like, not a problem. Like, we'll keep him here for as long as we can. And I was like, perfect. I called an Uber like as I was at that point, like going to the elevator, and thankfully there was an Uber like 2 minutes away that came to get me. So I like got in the car. As I'm in the Uber, closed the door of the Uber, I see the elevator door open, and it was him. And he was like looking around for me. And I told the guy, I was like, please leave right now. And he was like, okay. Like, goes to the car, whatever. This man is blowing my phone up. Like, he's like calling me, texting me, like blowing my phone up. And I was like, absolutely not. He's like, you stupid bitch, you whore, you this, you that. Like, he is saying he's calling me everything that you could call me. And I was like, I didn't even know what to like say or make of the situation. I just like blocked him. Like, he was still typing. I saw little bubbles, and I just blocked him. And then I reported him on the app that I met him on. That was the worst date that I've ever been on. It haunts me to this day, okay? It was so bad.
So this guy that I went on one date with, that was literally the worst date ever, keeps texting me, and I honestly got annoyed with it, so I decided to end it. So let me read the text messages, because... So he texts me, "Hey, just thinking about the date we had, I haven't stopped smiling. When can I see you again?" I said, "That's wild, because I haven't stopped cringing." He said, "LOL, you play too much." Everything I said he thought was a joke. He said, "I know you was feeling me when I said I got my own LLC." I said, "Boy, like I said at the restaurant, your LLC probably stands for lame, lost, and confused. And you tried to flex by drop shipping a store with zero inventory." He said, "Wow, I got goals though. You said you like ambitious men," which I did, because I like a man with goals. I said, "Ambition is cute, but you spent our whole date talking about getting rich off of nonsense topics, and then your phone was cracked like your delusions." When I say his phone was cracked, it was shattered from top to bottom. I thought he was going to cut his finger every time he pulled it out. I was honestly concerned for him. He said, "Ayo, relax. I was just trying to have a good convo. You don't gotta be mean." I said, "You tried to convince me that Drake is your cousin and that you got industry ties. Then, when your card got declined, you said it was Apple Pay hating. Please be serious." I'm gonna just blame it on him being light skinned, because when he tried to say like, "Oh yeah, Drake is, yeah, that's my cousin, bro. It's the family." He tried to try to break it down how he in the family and how like he really know people in the industry. And okay. He said, "All right, so you clowning me now. I'm a good dude for real. You'll regret this." I said, "You're not a good dude. You're a grown man who said, 'Can I have a sip?' and reach for my drink with 2 hands. If anybody knows me knows I'm a freaking germaphobe. I don't know this man. I got me a freaking drink. I forgot what I got. It was some type of mix, like little frozen drink. You know, gave it a little decoration. He had the nerve to try to grab my drink and take a sip out of it before my lips even touched it. Mind you, I'm pretty sure he got like a Shirley Temple or something. He said, "LOL, you dead wrong, but damn, I thought we vibed." I said, "You vibed, I endured," like a survivor on Naked and Afraid. Because I just really thought like that was like a funny thing. Like you was vibing, I was suffering. He said, "Okay, now you acting brand new. You're not even all that to be talking to me like this." And I said, "You're not even regular. You're literally below average, and you have the confidence like you're a celebrity. You're delusional." He said, "Bet, you got jokes, but you probably still lonely AF. That's why you built like a door and you still single." I said, "Built like a door? Baby, you're shaped like a question mark, and you still think you're the answer. Be safe, love," with a heart. And he didn't answer. But if y'all want more of these messages, let me know.
So recently I went on what I believe was the worst date of my entire existence. It all started on good old Hinge, which I don't know why I haven't learned my lesson yet with that app. And I matched with this guy, you know, he was cute, he was fit, he was tall. So we get to talking, you know, we're going back and forth, asking each other questions. It's mutual curiosity. And I'm like, wow, could it be a man who is equally good looking and can hold a conversation? So pretty much a few days into talking, he was like, "I would love to take you on a really nice fancy dinner date." And, you know, I gave him my availability and I was like, "I'm so excited, you know, where do you want to go?" And he said, "Nobu," which, if you've been on my channel before, you know dates never end well when they take me to Nobu. Part of me felt bad because if you've ever been to a Nobu, you know that it's not cheap. It is pretty expensive. And so I was like, "Hey, are you sure you want to take me there? Like, it's a little bit expensive." He basically was like, "Oh, my perfect, beautiful angel princess. Like, I want to spoil you. I really enjoyed talking to you. Like, I want to get to know you over a nice, like, romantic dinner." So we meet at the restaurant and I take my own car. He takes his own car. He steps out of his vehicle and it's like a movie scene. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's like there's fog. His hair's blowing. Like, he is just so dang beautiful. So we sit down and, you know, he tells me a little bit more about his job because I kind of realized like, oh, I don't even really know what this man does, but surely he makes enough to be able to like wine and dine me on this first date. Once we get our menus, he is just like, "Order whatever you want, like drinks, food, like I want to spoil you." So he starts talking about his career and he's like, "Yeah, I've been working on this business for a couple of years." Like, essentially he was telling me it was like a fashion, like clothing company that he was really passionate about. But it sounds like he just started this out. So I'm like, oh, so that doesn't sound like it's his main source of income. Like, I can't just upright ask him that because it's the first date, you know? So I kind of, you know, work it in and be like, "Oh, that's so cool.
you must work so hard. Like, is that your only gig, or do you do a couple other things? You know, basically was like, oh, well, aside from that, yeah, I'm not really working right now. Like, I just really believe in this company. I believe in the fact that it's gonna blow up. So my parents are like fully supporting me right now, you know, and I took my dad's car to this date because I don't have a car right now. I basically like sold everything that I own to like invest in this business. So now I'm a little like, ooh, you know, he starts getting into asking what I do, and I proceed to tell him. And then the thing that can be the ick about this is he proceeds to say, maybe you can be my sugar mommy until I get a job and I can afford to spoil us both one day. And so the end of the date is fast approaching, thank goodness. And the waitress comes over and is like, how's everything going? And we're like, good. And then he also says that we're ready for the check. And so she goes, okay, awesome. I'm gonna go grab it for you and I will be right back. She brings it out and, you know, it's in front of us, and I'm like waiting for him to grab his card and, you know, put it down. But he's just kind of like, you know, just looking around, just like scoping out the scene. She ends up eventually coming over being like, hey, are you guys all good? Like, was there something wrong with the check? And he was like, oh, no, we're all good, we're all good. Right after she walks away, equally as confused as I am, he looks at me and goes, hey, so I have a proposition for you. He looks at me and essentially goes, you know, I've really enjoyed my time with you tonight. Like, I really think you're a girl that I could potentially make my girlfriend soon. You know, I want to continue to get to know you. I would appreciate if you could grab the check this time, because my business is going to be blowing up like really, really soon. And I'm definitely going to be paying for all the remainder of the dates that we have. So I'm just wondering if like just this once you could grab it, because I promise like in the future, I'm totally going to spoil you. I look at this man wide-eyed, and then I look down at the check. That check is $250. Whatever chemistry we had during this whole dinner date was just gone. And he got really quiet and he was like, yeah, well, like I said, like I'm like working on my career and my company. Like, I don't really have the money for this either. At this point, I just wanted to get out of there so bad. And like, you know what? I am willing to pay half. I will Zelle you half. If you could pay the other half, that would be great. You know, it's 50-50. Are you able to do that? Can you ask your mom for some allowance? You know, he ended up ultimately agreeing, and that was it. The check was paid, the dinner was done. We walk out of Nobu. He's like walking me to my car. I'm getting into my car. I'm like, all right, you know, it was great to see you. And he goes in for a kiss, and I'm like, whoa, you know, 2 hours ago, I would have been so down for a smooch or two. Now he like somehow went from a 10 to a 2. That's pretty much essentially what happened with that guy. I went home, you know, went on my merry way, and I unmatched from him on Hinge. Never spoke to him again. But I still like am trying to make sense of what even happened, because he asked me on the date. He said he wanted to spoil me. He suggested the restaurant, and when I said, hey, are you sure? That's too expensive. Like, I don't want you paying for that. He was like, no, all good. I want to spoil you. So I'm like, what happened there? All I know is if there's ever a very beautiful man or a very beautiful person in general, there's usually something wrong with them, clearly, is what I have gathered from this. So
the time that this guy wanted us to go walk around the cemetery in the middle of the night because it brought him comfort. The time this guy came over for the first time and threw up all over my bathroom and then passed out on my couch, and then I had to kick him out and I never saw him again. The time I accidentally housed a homeless man because I didn't know he was homeless because he lied. But he kept showering at my house, and we like weren't really at that level, so I didn't really think anything of it because I was like, okay, like he likes to be clean. The time that I went on a date with this guy, and when I showed up and we like got to talking, I found out that he lied about his age for like no reason. Like, he made himself younger. One time this guy came over and we'd been talking for a little bit, but I had to like beg him to get off of his phone and pay attention to me and like hang out with me and like not talk to other people on his phone, like FaceTiming other people. And I got so irritated by the end of the night that I called an Uber for him at 6 o'clock in the morning. The time that I was kind of dating this guy for a couple months, and he lied about everything, but he lied about having cancer. The time another guy lied to me about cancer.